that monster.
Look at that. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the River Rats. Today we're going to be going over how to locate and catch big river smallmouth. We're going to be going over spring, summer, and fall, and what baits to use and how to locate them and stuff like that. Alright, let's get into it. So, in the springtime, early spring, you're going to be talking about like deep wintering holes for smallmouth. So, you're going to find, wintering holes for the smallies, and you're basically looking for steep bank next to them. So, if you got a 20-foot hole, you're finding the steepest bank on that 20-foot hole, and the fish should be, pulling up in the early pre-spawn on the rocks and whatever cover's on that break. And if there isn't any cover on that break, then of course find a new break. But baits you're gonna be throwing to catch those early spring smallmouth in the river is Ned rigs, crankbaits, Ned rig jigs, stuff like that. Sometimes reaction baits they'll be biting, and the other days they'll be biting bottom baits. But that's one of the ways we find them in the spring. Another way is when the river floods, all the trees in the bank, of course, they become in the water. And you can basically, flip jigs, throw Ned rigs around those trees. And that's another great way to do it because the flooding, it muddies up the water. So it gets sometimes very tough to catch those spring smallmouth bass. Great colors are black and blue, red, craw, like blue craw looking colors, stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much early pre-spawn. You got your deeper structure, and when the river floods, then you can fish the structure on the bank as it gets deeper. And yeah, so that's early pre-spawn. All right, now we're gonna get into the middle of pre-spawn. When it's in the full pre-spawn, like middle of it, the fish are gonna be shallower, getting ready to spawn. They're gonna be fat and very easy to catch. You're just looking for steeper banks, and like sometimes creeks are very good. That creeks that go into the river that make like a little sand drop. That's a very good spot for pre-spawn smallmouth. And trees on the banks, rocks, basically any cover you can get on the bank is great. It holds heat. It holds a spot for them to spawn, and when they're looking to spawn. And yeah, just great spots like that. Baits we like to use are Ned rigs, jigs, and crankbaits. Basically the exact same. We're basically using the same baits for the entire pre-spawn and the spawn period. It's just, they're great baits all year round. All right, now we talk about the spawn. The spawn can be a very tricky time of year on the rivers because normally the water is pretty dirty still and you can't really see them. But when you can see them in shallower water, they are very slow to catch. Like last spring, I was at the river and it was super fast current. Like you could barely see anything, but I did see a bed. And normally you sometimes can't see the fish, but you can see the bed. And I threw at that fish for probably 30 minutes to an hour, and we finally got him to bite on a technique that's not fished too often, not talked about. It's called a tiny child rig. And basically you're taking a Nico hook, you're Texas rigging a finesse TRD there, and you're putting a Nico weight on the bottom of it. And it's just a great bait, on the bed. It doesn't move very quick when you twitch your rod. And yeah, another good bait too is a drop shot. That's very, very good on the bed. It's a staple on the bed. And another bait too is a Ned rig, just for covering water, looking for beds, or just trying to find spots where fish might be on beds that you can't see. A Ned rig is a great option for that. Some of the spawning fats we like to look for are like coming out of creeks on like a big flat that pushes out sand. The fish like to spawn on that. And then also like to spawn on like stumps and bigger rocks. Those are high percentage spots on finding them. And yeah, so that's pretty much the spawn. Now we'll get into the post spawn. So the post spawn is probably the trickiest out of the three, just because the fish are in a super funk. They just had a month or so of spawning, and now they're trying to push upriver and just get fattened up back for the summer. Basically, what you're looking for is you're finding those pre-spawn spots, spawn spots, and then you're going upriver, looking for deeper parts, but with shallow water access. Stumps, trees, logs, river channel swings, current breaks, and stuff like that, where they can just sit there and just let the bait come to them. They don't want to use a lot of energy. Pretty lazy in the post spawn, but they do bite topwater in the post spawn. That's another thing is Logan and me have gotten on great bites fishing spooks and wad ploppers, on sand drops, on stumps, rock flats, stuff like that. That's also great in the post spawn. And you know, you're just looking for any place that would basically hold a bass going upriver. Alright, now we're going to talk about early summer. Early summer is probably one of the fun times on the river, most fun times. And you're basically going to the northern part of the river and you're looking for deep water with trees and, you know, rocks, just stuff like that. And you're pitching Ned rigs, jigs, Topwater is great in the summer, and it's a really fun time of year. And you can basically do that in the midsummer. It's basically the exact same pattern, and then in the late summer, it's pretty much the exact same. You're just looking for deep water with trees and like logs and rocks and that sort of stuff, and that can be absolutely phenomenal in the summer. We catch monster bags doing that. All right, now we're going to talk about the summer to fall transition. You know, that can be a really, really tricky time of year. You know, they're moving back downriver towards the dams where they, you know, started in the spring. So they're basically making a cycle from this early spring, you know, winter. They're going from their wintering hole to the bank, and then to spawning, to post-spawn, and pushing way back upriver. You know, I think I've caught the same fish, you know, 20 miles apart on the river. Those fish migrate like crazy on the river. They're just different kind of fish versus lake fish. But so in the summer to fall transition, you know, they're swimming back downriver. So what you're going to do is you're going to start at your summer spot and work your way down, and you're stopping on high percentage spots. You know, you're going to points that have rocks and sticks and stuff like that, and you're looking for them there. And you just make your way down as, you know, like September to October. You're just working your way down, you know, each of the days and following the fish as the fall goes on, as it gets colder. And that can be a really good way to catch them. But really when it gets good in the fall is in that October range where it starts to get waters in the 50, 55 degree range. They get down towards that dam spot, and they really, like, I mean, they're just on a bite, you know. They just bite everything you throw at them. You could pitch it at a laydown. Bridge pilings is very good in the fall. You know, we love doing that. Rocks in the fall is fantastic, you know. Just any place that has cover down by the dam is going to be, you know, great. Like, there's so many dams on different rivers. You know, the Mississippi, there's great spots by the dams. You know, you're looking for bridge pilings. You're looking for deeper sticks, deeper rocks, and you can basically just fish anything, and there should be fish around. And now we're going to get into later fall. It starts to get a little tougher past that fall range. You know, it can be a grind at sometimes when the water gets really cold, but you're basically pushing off the bank a little bit, back into the wintering holes. You know, you're going to find that cover near it, and you're just going to push off a little bit. Find the deeper rock, you know, the deeper stumps, and laydowns like fish, or yeah, so the fish are just going to be setting up on the laydowns and the rocks. And you're just throwing Ned rigs. You know, a good bait is a blade bait. That's a good bait. You know, just that sort of style. You're just slowing down your approach. You know, in the fall, you're just basically, I fish a jig and Ned rig. Those are the two baits you need for basically the entire fall until it gets really late. All right, now we're going to talk about winter. You know, winter can be a very tricky time. The smallmouth pretty much go in the wintering hole and don't move. You know, you have to really fish for them. You know, jerk baits, blade baits. Forward-facing sonar is very good for that. You can locate them, big schools of them. And yeah, and if you do get on a bite, it can be amazing. But it's very tough to get on a good bite. Another good bait, too, is a Minnesota rig. Or if you're out of the state of Minnesota, like Alabama rig. You know, it's basically, I mean, it's a fish catcher. It looks like a ball of bait, you know, swimming through the water, and smallies hammer that thing. You catch monsters on that. But, I mean, again, you're just looking for deeper spots on channel swings in the winter, and then you're just following just all the things. So you go from winter to pre-spawn, you're just following the breaks back down towards the bank, and it's just a cycle every single year to be in those same spots. I mean, we've had years where we've caught, you know, 4 or 5 pounder on the exact same tree every single year. It's just what you're fishing. And if you're catching fish, it'll be good the next year. So yeah, I mean, recap, you know, baits you're going to want to be throwing all year on the river is a jig, Ned rig, Topwater. You know, those are all amazing baits to do. So yeah, Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We might do more of these videos. Comment down below if you do like this style of video, informational, because we obviously can't fish for bass right now in Minnesota. The season's closed, so we're trying other ways to pump out some content for you guys. So yeah, stay tuned and yeah, hit the subscribe button. Peace out.